All right. Yay. We did it. Listen, I'm excited to be on here today. It's Tuesday, just for a little quick 15, 20-minute lunch and learn with my sister friend. And we've been friends for, I think,
I know.
since the show, since the
We got history
Tankers.
now.
She used to take care for us. And it's been really cool watching you glow up, if you will, watching you develop and grow and change. And, I would probably say that most people don't grow and change, unfortunately. They live, they exist, they repeat what they've already done. But a lot of times we don't see a whole lot of change in the lives of people. And so it's been really cool watching you evolve and change everything from your appearance to your appetite for, I think you probably always had an appetite for the finer things of life, but your deep dive into the world of money, which I think that we cannot have enough conversation about that as people of color, in lieu of, I think, the fact that the wealth gap was already astronomically larger than what it needs to be. It's still very disproportionately off. I think there are a lot of people like you and me that are really advocating and educating to change that. But we still have a long way to go. And I think we have to continue to have the conversation because money, Nicole, as you know, impacts every area of our lives. It impacts where we go shopping, it impacts what we drive, it impacts where we live, it impacts everything, right? And so
Yes.
now, of course, there's economic crisis on the horizon. And crisis also is an opportunity for change and for things to be better. Things don't have to be bad. Things can be it can be the best of times and the worst of times at the same time. So you're in the insurance field. We're working together in the real estate. I'm doing the real estate piece, and then we're referring people to you where insurance is concerned. Talk about a little bit about what you're seeing economically, where people of color are, and what are some of your concerns, and what are some of the things that you're kind of like, getting on a horse and saying, listen.
Yeah. Well, first off, thank you, Jewel, for always seeing me as and hearing me, and always inspiring growth. I think for those who are tuned in who happen to have the blessing of knowing you personally, Jewel thinks big, like very, very big. And it's very important to keep people around you like that who think that large all the time. Because a big part of you being able to grow your wealth is for you to even think outside of your limitations. And it's very hard to think outside of your limitations when that is the only voices that you have around you. So knowing someone like Jewel, it's really nothing you can't say to Jewel and she won't be like, "Oh, you should you should do that." And that comes in a multitude of ways. So I always thank you for that. And I thank you for always creating these safe spaces for women just across the board, women, men, families, children. You just do it in excellence. So once again, thank you
Thank
for that.
you.
I would say during these times, being that I'm in the advisement space and we really talk through a lot of just really making sure our clients are thinking holistically and integratively in regards to their financial planning from their insurance side or risk side to their investment side to their long-term planning. When it comes to really understanding these dynamics and how to operate in these economic times, is really understanding that the economic cycles will continuously happen. This is nothing new. There is data on decades and centuries ago that you can start to really pay attention to, understand that economic cycles are inevitable. And you understanding how to operate in the ebbs and flows of those economic cycles makes you less dependent upon outcomes. You're able to move how you want to move without it being so dependent upon certain things because you're always placing in both sides of the bucket to set yourself up to win. um I would say now, I think the nickname that I've gotten in this world is the safety money girl, or, the person who's like, you got to sit down with it. We got to talk through every single piece of it. I would say now what I'm starting to see is that people are more open to just understanding how a lot of these complex tools work, how they can be utilized, and really the importance of strategy, not so much just having the tool, but there has to be strategy around it. So when there are what we call down markets, when there are recessions, when there are moments in time that make people start to move emotionally, if you have your strategy in place and your plan in place, you're able to move along because your plan has already taken that into account. So I would definitely say, just being very well rounded when it comes to your financial planning is very key, especially in economic times like this.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that, my thing is like, if you ever wanted to do it now. If you ever
Mhm.
wanted to change, do it now. If you ever wanted to pivot, do it now. If you ever wanted to invest, do it now. If you ever wanted insurance, do it now. If you ever wanted to invest in real estate, like do it now. Because sometimes people, I think, defer. We can become professional procrastinators. I did it for a long time with going to the gym. I
Mhm.
just was like, oh, I'm okay, da, 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 da. And then it was like, Jewel, girl, like
Mhm.
keep making excuses and deferring it till once, Brooklyn goes to Africa, or once Irene graduates from Howard, or once Ben, like there's always something that can tell you you need to wait. But I think for people that wait, those are the people that I'm concerned with. Those are the people
Mhm.
that I think are going to be in the lower class, because the
Mhm.
middle is almost, I think, Nikki, a little bit like, you're never going to just stay in one place. You're either going to go up or you're going to go down. You can
Right.
stay in neutral for a little while, but you can't stay in neutral forever, Bishop, right? You can't
Right.
stay in neutral forever, Garland. At some point, you have to make a decision. Am I going to become wealthier, or am I going to become poorer?
Mhm.
I think that the middle class by design is going to get squozen, and that it's going to really require everyone to hook up with the people that they know are genuinely and authentically doing the work, doing the research, watching the data, and connecting with them. Because this is what I learned, Nikki. I don't have to know everything. I asked you to
Mhm.
run for me the other week, which I got to sit down and look at. You did
Mhm.
send me some stuff.
Mhm.
I want to sit down with you and like walk through it. But the point is like I can't just we can't just stay like in a place of like neutrality. I don't think it's real. I think it's dangerous. I think we really have to move with urgency now. I don't think we
Yeah.
have to do everything, but I think there are some specific things that all of us should be doing.
Agreed. Totally agree with you. I think that to stay in neutral is to go backwards by design. When it comes to just like your how you're thinking of money and how you're thinking of just your trajectory and what you're trying to create for you and for your family and for your bloodline, there has to be leverage to your dollars, right? So when we I would say in our world, the way that we consider leverage is how many things can your dollars be doing at the same time? So if your dollars are just sitting in savings, that's all it's doing. It's just that one thing. It doesn't have any growth that's happening to it. It has no way of mitigating from any taxation. There's no other things that those dollars are doing. It's that one way. And that's typically when we operate in fear and we operate in standing in the pause per se, then we're not taking full advantage. Whereas someone such as yourself highly leverages their dollars. They're making sure that, or you're making sure that your dollars are always constantly doing more than one thing. And when we think about it, especially within our communities, what we're trying to accomplish, for many individuals, you might be the beginning of generational wealth, or at most, you might be generation two, but very rarely is it generation five, six, seven, eight. And so, with that, time is not necessarily on your side. So, the leveraging becomes more important and really understanding how that works for you. So it would be great if many people were exposed to a lot of the information that you give, Jewel, and that I give, in their early years from elementary school to whatnot, where many people, are exposed from that early on. But for a lot of individuals, it's kind of you get into the workforce, you get a little bit older, you start expanding your family, and then you start coming across or understanding the importance of gaining this type of information. Every year that goes by is pushing you further behind when you don't start applying that information and taking action on it. So I'm 100% in agreement with you. Also, I think what puts a lot of people in that space of deer with of being a deer standing in headlights is there's so much information going out there and it can start to get confusing and you have a lot of messages coming to you. But true enough, there's a multiple ways that you can hit the finish line, right? There's multiple ways that you can. I know that you talk through the way that you do real estate is the way that's tried and true for you. But there's probably two or three other ways that people can also approach it and still hit the finish line. Your goal is not to stand there and play mental ping pong and try to figure out over and over again, who can hit who, how can you outplay the ping pong master. Your goal is to get into the game. And then once you're in the game, you have a better chance of at least winning or at least advancing yourself across a few points. And when you do things systematically, you stress test them, you think through them, you understand what you're trying to get in and what you're trying to get out of it. Rarely are you going to leave yourself in a worse predicament. So, that becomes very important in regards to that.
Yeah, no, that's really, really good. Nikki, I just want to say thanks for jumping on here today. We just wanted to come on here and do just a little quick lunch and learn. If you guys want to get more information about how to even use real estate, how to use insurance to build a real estate portfolio, or you might say, hey, I just need a life insurance policy, or hey, I just want to talk to you about investing in real estate, period. Go ahead and email info@certifiednow.com. We started that company and brought on amazing team players like Nicole, everything that you're going to need from how to find off market properties, how to make sure you're hooking up with the right title companies, or make sure you got a clear title, to making sure you got contractors that you can trust, to realtors that can put it back on the market, designers, everything from beginning to end, relationships with the mayor's office, everything that you're going to really need to be successful in real estate, in investing, in insurance. And so if you're interested in connecting with us, make sure, again, you shoot an email to info@certifiednow.com. Nikki, last words that you might tell these amazing people where, developing wealth and closing that wealth gap is concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always going to take one of your quotes that I love is surrounding yourself around people who have your answers and not your problems. And so, unfortunately, so much social media makes people feel like they can do a lot of this themselves. But having the guidance of someone like a Jewel, having, an advisory team such as ours, these are different types of things that help you shorten the curve, that help you have more direction. And they, we can already see those blind spots that are already coming that way that, just kind of insulate and protect you in those type of ways. So yes, I know it's a world where everyone feels like do it yourself, but to have guidance puts you so far ahead in many of these scenarios.
Yeah, nah, for sure, for sure. Nicole, thank you so much for jumping on here. You guys, I'm going to tell you, act now, seize the moment, seize the opportunity. No more missed opportunities, no more sitting on the sidelines, jump in the game and be willing to learn as you go. So you guys have a great day. Nicole, thanks again, sister, for jumping on here. And we will be back soon. Bye, everybody.
Okay. Bye, Jewel. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. That was a great, girl. Good job.